More high drama in the village of Dalton tonight, where embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard is trying to get down to business.
And that includes spending issues and a controversial move to try to appoint a
Once hailed as a rising political star, Tiffany Henyard now finds herself drowning in a storm of corruption allegations. But that's just the surface. A determined lawyer closely following the case has stepped forward, exposing how she allegedly played the court system like a chessboard, using every deceptive tactic in the book to safeguard her power in Courtroom Township. From manipulating proceedings to exploiting her influence, this story exposes a web of deceit you won't believe. Stick around, because what we uncover will leave you questioning everything about this controversial figure. For months, Tiffany Henyard has been under fire amid accusations of mismanaging community funds and outright corruption. Yet despite mounting evidence, she has consistently managed to stay one step ahead, leaving many locals baffled. Now, a lawyer choosing to remain anonymous due to fears of backlash and person safety has come forward with startling revelations about how Henyard has allegedly stayed on top. The lawyer claims that Henyard is exploiting her influence and employing a range of deceptive legal tactics to dodge every attempt of the community to make her accountable. These shocking revelations have sparked public outrage, with Thornton Township residents now demanding a full investigation into her courtroom dealings. According to the lawyer, Henyard has allegedly been manipulating court procedures to delay hearings, buying herself valuable time to take drastic measures and sway the outcomes of these hearings. The self-acclaimed super mayor is accused of exploiting judicial loopholes and intimidating key witnesses to maintain her grip on power. Even more troubling, Henyard has publicly threatened to arrest her political opponents, accusing them of orchestrating a smear campaign against her. In a nearly 90-minute rant on Facebook, the embattled Democratic mayor lashed out at her detractors, including members of her own administration, labeling them conspirators and vowing to round them up. "Our will be seeking arrest for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges. It's a lot. And that's just me telling you a little bit." Since her election in 2021, Tiffany Henyard's administration has been constantly in the spotlight, but not for the reason she'd want. Her time in office has been marred by accusations of power and lavish spending funded by taxpayers. According to this and spelling lawyer, Henyard's game plan is as calculated as it is bold. She's allegedly figured out how to play the legal system like a pro, all while keeping herself insulated from the consequences. One of the biggest red flags of her time in office is a highly questionable financial report she recently submitted. Trustees are accusing her of intentionally filing false reports to manipulate Dalton's finances amid her attempts to derail ongoing investigations. The anonymous lawyer doubled down on these accusations, claiming the financial records were tampered with to hide shady transactions that were likely unauthorized by the trustees. For Henyard, this isn't exactly a new accusation. Many have long criticized her for frivolously spending taxpayer money, despite pulling in a hefty paycheck of over $300,000 a year from her dual roles as Dalton's mayor and Thornton Township's supervisor. But the kicker that got a lot of people talking is Henyard's insane boldness to submit these so-called altered financial reports, even with all eyes on her. Sources close to the situation claimed she did this to downplay scrutiny, hiding irregularities that could have blown the lid off her administration's financial dealings. And as juicy as that sounds, it's not even the most alarming part. The lawyer also spilled that Henyard has been using intimidation tactics and cozying up to the Dalton police to silence whistleblowers and officials digging into her corruption. Northeast. More proof look no further than the alleged parade of witnesses who initially stepped forward to testify against Henyard, but suddenly started back. Sources say many have withdrawn their statements altogether, allegedly after being threatened with job losses and legal action. The sheer number of people recanting has raised eyebrows, and plenty of suspicion about the limbs Henyard might go to keep her secrets buried if these allegations hold any weight. This isn't just shady, it's straight-up witness tampering and obstruction of justice. That's a major breach of ethics, especially for someone in the public office. And if proven true, it could spell serious trouble for Tiffany Henyard. Beyond these accusations of witness is tampering, the embattled mayor has also been accused of stalling court proceedings, allegedly using every delay tactic in the book. Her legal team has repeatedly filed motions to push hearings back, claiming various reasons, but insiders say it's all a part of a bigger plan. According to the lawyer spilling this tea, Henyard is trying to buy as much time as possible to cling to her position by sabotaging investigations and dragging out the legal process. She's hoping to stay in office long enough to complete her term, dodging any convictions until she's ready to exit on her own terms. It's a bold strategy, but one that's stirring a lot of outrage in Thornton Township. Media sources have backed up these claims, reporting that Henyard and her legal team have meticulously planned this delay game, their goal to stretch the process long enough to run out the clock on her time in office. But this alleged misconduct has triggered backlash in the community, with local leaders demanding an independent investigation into the mayor's dealings. Many believe this is a massive betrayal of public trust, and they want answers fast. As if that wasn't enough drama, let's talk about the eviction lawsuit Henyard is facing from her landlord. Yep, you heard that right, the self-proclaimed super mayor, who's ranking in a six-figured salary from her two positions, is being sued for months of unpaid rent. How does someone making that kind of money fail to pay their landlord? Buckle up, because this story takes the embarrassment to a whole another level after news broke that Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dothan and supervisor of Thurin Township, was facing eviction. Some chalked it up to forgetfulness, expecting her to settle the rent quickly, but it turned out she didn't. Instead, Henyard added yet another scandal to her growing list of problems, including FBI investigations into alleged corruption and accusations of frivolous spending of taxpayers' money. This time, it's her refusal to pay rent that's grabbing headlines. The landlord, Janetta Hall, recently spoke out, revealing fears of losing her home to foreclosure because of Hen's non-payment. I think in her mind, she feels untouchable, which is a problem Hall shared with the news outlets. Hall, who has known the Henyard family for over 20 years, initially trusted the mayor to be a reliable tenant, a fair assumption given Henyard and her boyfriend Camille Woods reportedly pull in a combined yearly income of over $375,000. So how does a couple earning that kind of money skip out on a few months of rent? Many believe this is just another example of Henyard's alleged disregard for accountability. Hull explained that the relationship between her and Henyard soured after she had to raise the rent due to a spike in property taxes. Despite the increase, most assume Henyard and Woods could afford the new rate without issue. However, in August, the couple stopped paying rent altogether. And get this, they didn't just refuse to pay. According to Hall, they changed the locks and security passcodes to keep her out of the property entirely. Hall, who was once part of Hen's campaign team, expressed her frustration, stating that the sheriff's office hasn't been able to serve the eviction papers because they haven't been able to locate Henyard neither at home nor in her office. The whole situation has sparked outrage online, with many questioning how a government official trusted to lead an entire township can't manage something as basic as paying rent. Evictions happen every day, but an eviction involving a sitting mayor, that's next level drama. And the audacity to block the landlord from assessing her own property has people shaken their head. This bold move seems to reflect a pattern in Hen's behavior, leaving many wondering just how deep her alleged sense of entitlement goes. The latest twist in Tiffany Henyard's ever-growing scandal involves a shocking betrayal for one of her most loyal supporters, trustee Stanley Brown. For those keeping up with the Daltons drama, you know how steadfast Stanley Brown has been in backing the super mayor, even when the allegations against her started stacking up. But now it seems Brown has had enough. He's officially flipped sides, joining those calling for accountability. Here's where it gets messier. 10 years attorney Max Solomon recently filed a lawsuit against the Board of Trustees. But here's the kicker, neither of them had any idea their names were being used. Brown outright denied ever consenting to be a part of the lawsuit and made it clear he was blindsided by the move. What this means is that Henyard and her legal team allegedly filed the lawsuit, claiming to represent Brown and Holmes without their approval. Talk about shady. In response, the trustees have hit back with their own motion, seeking sanctions against Henyard and her attorney for what they're calling a serious breach of trust. This move by Henyard and her legal team seems to have backfired spectacularly. Stanley Brown, a respected voice in the community, didn't just distance himself from Henyard, he wrote an open letter slamming her for dragging his name into this mess without permission. And honestly, this might be the nail in the coffin for Henyard. Dwindling support, burning bridges with a key ally like Brown only adds to her mounting troubles. Right now, Henyard looks like she's fighting a losing battle between multiple lawsuits filed by her own community and an FBI investigation into the alleged misuse of federal funds. It's clear the walls are closing, and this latest stunt, falsifying legal representation, seems like a desperate Hail Mary to stay afloat. But it's only making things worse, and the drama doesn't stop here, with mainstream news outlets starting to sniff around this folding chaos in Dalton. It's safe to say this story is far from over, so if you want to stay in the loop on everything happening with Tiffany Henyard, be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because it's only getting juicier from here.